have gotten a new car, and so I was looking at my keychain the other day, and I noticed this drum key. And I have carried this drum key for like 8 years because I used to lead worship where we had to set up and tear down our set every single time we played music when I was in college. And at the time, if you don't know, setting up and tearing down a drum requires a drum key. And your drummers may or may not be responsible enough to remember. So I just bought one, I put it on my keyring, and it's been on there ever since. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, there's actually a lot of things that I just carry when I go to lead worship. So now I just have 3 copies, roughly 3 copies of this setup. Let me show you. So first things first, we have, of course, my handy dandy iPad and extra cable. I like to bring my own iPad because some churches provide iPads, but you just never know. And so having one of your own and having, the ability to charge it, I find has been super useful. And I really love going paperless, even though it's kind of a pain in the butt to like figure out how to time it so you can swipe for second pages or scroll for second pages. I think it's totally worth it for what I get. The next thing that I always try to have is a guitar stand, my own guitar stand, because again, a lot of churches have them, but you just never know. And so I really enjoy these folding A-frames. They fold all the way into just like this flat little shindig doohickey. And the nice thing about the A-frame, this one is super thick, I find, so I am never worried about my guitar falling off. And having that security is something that I like to bring with me every time I go to lead worship. I've started putting on my keychain a multi-tool because, you never know if a string breaks and you need to restring, which is why I always carry extra strings in my pocket. You never know if you're gonna need to chop it up. And because my guitars have active pickups, I always have an extra one of these, and especially in the acoustic set, you can't go wrong with a 9-volt. Realistically, because I am a worship leader, I should also have double A's, but I usually only carry 9 volts, and if we need double A's, we just in trouble. But yeah, I have this multi-tool on my keychain. It's just a Leatherman squirt. I love it. It's a little heavy, but the other thing that's heavy that most people don't carry is a drum key. Our drummers usually remember their keys, but it's just nice to have on your keychain. And honestly, even like in a church setting, like where you're not setting up and tearing down, I find that having a drum key has been really helpful and has come in clutch on a couple of occasions when my poor drummers have, either broken a head or just needed to retune a new head. The other thing I have in all of my setups is a set of in-ears because one time, actually it was like a series of 6 times where I went and I didn't have my own set of in-ears, and I was so mad because I only had one, and honestly they were $20. So I bought several more packs, and now no matter where I go, I always have a set of in-ears for my things. And I know that a lot of places use wedges or whatever, but I just find that having a set and having your own set and not having to borrow a set, and it's just worth it. And this set of headphones, I love these. They're so comfortable. You can pull the heads off so you can just play with 1 ear or 0 ears. I think it's great, super affordable. There's no reason not to have it. So that's why I have one in every single one of my bags. Of course, as a guitar player, you can't go wrong with cables. I bought monster cables, just like a 3-pack, so that I could have one in every single one of my kits, but I also actually usually have some shorter ones too, so that I can plug in from my board to a DI box. Over here I have some adapters that I try to carry around. I actually am looking at getting new ones because I find, so this setup, the 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch, I find that I prefer having a wire in between so that there's some flexibility, because this tends to, if you have to plug into a computer for your synth or whatever, and if it's hanging somewhere because you have it up on a stand, it puts a lot of stress and tension on the connection here, whereas if you have a wire, the stress and tension is actually not on the connective point, but it's on the wire, and you can set it up so that it's a lot easier. But yeah, I try to have one that goes from 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch, but also from 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch, so that either way, if you need, because you just never know, like who's gonna need it, or if a cable fails and you need to like reconstruct a new cable, having adapters is really nice. And honestly, I should have XLR adapters too, but I don't. Whether or not you play guitar, you should have extra picks for your guitarists, because guitarists are just atrocious at being able to keep track of their own picks. And I, as a guitarist, also try and keep extra capos on hand. I actually need to reorder some because I have had so many cases where I have shared my capos and not gotten them back. And so whether you're a guitarist or not, like with the drum key, I'm not a drummer, but I always keep a drum key. Whether or not you're a guitarist, I think having capos on hand is going to be one of the most useful things that you can carry for your worship team. And so yeah, that is the stuff that I carry, other than of course, my guitar and my pedal boards. But I always have these same things packed in my bag, and I have one in every single bag because I've unfortunately had it happen far too many times that I took my rig and then realized that the thing I needed, whether it was a stand, whether it was a cable, whether it was a battery, was actually in my other case set. Now, I don't know if there were some things on that list that maybe surprised you. Like, as a guitarist, having a drum key on your keychain isn't necessarily something that people think about. But I'm curious if there's something that maybe you carry that not everyone carries. What that is and what you think is the most important thing as a worship leader in order to take care of your worship team that you can have on hand at all times to take care of your team. Let me know. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.